children of the night. What music they make. They're all gonna laugh at you.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Welcome to Final Guys. This week we're going to talk about The Silence. With me, I'm Jack, and I got my two buddies here, Jason and Hunter. How you doing, fellas?
I have beer. I am good.
I feel like a bridge over troubled water.
Sail on, Silver Girl.
It's a folk episode, ladies and gentlemen.
So, this week we're going to talk about the new Netflix movie, The Silence. Before we do that, how's everybody doing?
I'm
I
sick.
have beer. I'm good.
Good beer, you're good. You're sick.
This is going to be his only answer tonight.
Yes, that's correct.
Does somebody have the drinking words for this week?
I think I do.
Oh, yay. Good.
Yay. Here we go. Jack, your words are Avengers, Rattlesnake, and Car. Hunter, yours are Alley, Dog, and Eggs. Mine are Deaf, Vesps, and Cult. And the bonus words are Netflix, Quiet, and Tucci. So he pretty much covered all his bases.
Yep.
Tucci. Well, before we get going in with the news, Hunter, you have something to tell everybody.
Yeah, by the way, this is special. This is episode 101, and this episode is actually brought to you by something.
Dun, dun, dun.
So this episode is brought to you by the latest severed press release, Lords of the Deep, by our man, Tim Meyer, who is a great writer, but a terrible critic of horror movies, and his buddy, Patrick Lacey. So what's the book about? Well, here's a little bit about it. Welcome to historic Lee Bay, home of maritime lore and the region's most popular pirate festival, ARG.
Gar.
It was also the landing site of the infamous Lords of the Deep, ruthless pirates who once pillaged the area and said to have hidden a chest full of cursed treasure.
Gar.
But this year's pirate festival will be different. This year, the Lords of the Deep are coming home.
Gar.
Gar. So it's available in ebook and trade paperback on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. And I'm actually going to talk more about it because it's a book I'm reviewing this week.
I saw the
Kismet.
cover. It's very nice.
The Kismet. The cover's awesome.
Yeah, I'm guessing they do like custom paintings or drawings for those because they look killer.
Yeah, no, the Severed Press, whoever they have, and I've got 8 books of them, and no one's ever told me who's done the cover art.
They just Google images and steal it and hope nobody notices.
Hey,
That's sadly the way most book covers are made. Like you
Google
can see
good images.
Yeah, you could see the same 5 models on every freaking book cover.
All right. You guys ready for some news?
Yeah.
First of all, let's start with the sad news.
Mm.
Paranormal investigator Lorraine Warren passed away this week. So she is now a ghost.
I know my friend told me that. I said, what will become of the chickens and roosters?
I wonder if John Zaffis is going to get the museum pieces.
Oh, he was probably rating it. She was probably cold for days, and before he reported.
God damn.
I'm just joking. Just joking, John. He's a nice guy.
Allegedly.
So I met Lorraine Warren once. Hunter, you met her, didn't you?
Yeah, I've met her a couple of times. I met John Zaffis.
Yeah.
She was a lovely lady. I always thought she looked like the premier librarian. She looked like she could whack you with like a ruler.
Ooh, she would look good as the library ghost in Ghostbusters.
Oh, hell yeah.
One of the things about the Warrens for me is I live in Connecticut, so they're right around here. So we're kind of a paranormal hub because of this. And we've got a lot of the places that they frequent, like the Easton Cemetery. We're in Warren country here. So when the Conjuring and all that came up, we're laughing going, that doesn't look anything like the Warrens.
Yeah, definitely. That was not Lorraine nor Ed.
Did you meet them, Jack?
I did. I went to one of their seminars once. And the funniest thing was my friend, she was talking about how she could read auras and stuff. So my friend just went up to her and was like, all right, read my aura. And she was like, well, it takes more. You got to think. And like, he just interrupts her, goes, you're full of it.
She just said, I see snarky.
Yeah.
Everyone I ever knew who met them said they were incredibly nice and very full of shit.
That sums it up.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know what's true and what's not.
Hey, they were nice enough not to throw me and my friends out at one of their events for the way we were behaving. So they were more patient than my own mother and father.
They supposedly have footage of the white lady, and I have only one person who said they saw it and wasn't very impressed, but I'm dying to see that footage someday.
Yeah. Would you see that? I don't know. Did they play that in the museum? Probably not. It's not
They
a
did not
haunted
play
thing.
it at the thing I went to, but they should. When they would do the Halloween thing at the hotel, they would do it.
Yeah, which I never got to go to that.
Yeah.
So they
So
have
anyway-
footage of a ghost and have never released it publicly.
No, that you have to pay for a special session to watch it.
It sounds very real.
Was that filmed by our friend?
No. that
Oh,
one
no.
wasn't.
Okay.
So anyway, sad news. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Breaking news. This is potentially the best news I've heard in a while.
Lorraine Warren is back.
Her ghost has been spotted.
She's back on Paranormal State.
James Wan and Gary Dauberman, who is from the It movie, the remake of It, are adapting Salem's Lot, just like I was hoping for. Somebody was going to take a crack at Salem's Lot.
Oh, I was hoping for Salem's Lot 2.
Yes, with Michael Moriarty.
I still need to go back and rewatch the original. It's been so long. I had actually thought it was like a 3-hour movie.
Salem's Lot was a 2-night TV movie, so
it was like 3 hours then.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then there's
I
an
am
abridged
remembering it.
version. So when you watch it, the first half is a lot of buildup, and then like all the good stuff really happens like at the end of the first episode and then into the second one.
Like the book.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's
the
act-
first half of the book's all
it
built up.
actually does a really good job of trimming out stuff from the book and compacting it into
You
a
mean
story.
most of
They
it?
really trimmed the fat out of that. Now, then there was the remake with Rob Lowe, which was abysmal. So now I was pretty lukewarm on Pet Cemetery and It. So while I'm kind of psyched that somebody's taking a swing at it, I'm also kind of going, I hope they do a better job. I know the general public loved those movies, but for me, I'm just hoping that we get a good adaptation of this.
Well, that's your thing, right? Salem's Lot. That's like one of your big
I
movies.
love Salem's Lot. I love vampires. I'd love to see it well done right. So we'll see.
Jason and I are waiting for Maximum Overdrive to be remade.
I don't want a remake. I want a direct sequel. That movie. I want Emilio Estevez out there. I freaking.
Oh, you want
love
it
that
also
movie.
directed by King?
Yes.
That would be
As long as they don't use the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin mask on the truck.
Oh,
in
that was
remake.
amazing. Like, who would actually drive that down the road? What was?
I know.
I also
Mr. Inconspicuous.
I always love the part. It's one of my favorite parts of that movie. Is what I think it might be the same truck or a different truck hits a car and the car flips the wrong way, like end over end for some reason. Oh man, I don't know if King was on tons of coke or what was happening when that movie was made, but it's so great.
This is the 80s. There's like a long commercial of him talking about the movie and the ad for the movie. And I don't know if he did it on purpose. He's got one eye like completely crossed. I'm like, is this on purpose to look like Jordy Verrill, or was he just so high?
Maximum over eye.
It's weird.
I don't know how I went off on that tangent, but I love that movie.
The last piece of news is that this new Invisible Man movie that they're working on, Elizabeth Moss has been cast in it. So Johnny
she's
Depp is no
visible.
longer. Was it Johnny Depp? I think it was Johnny Depp was attached to be in it, but he's gone now.
Could it literally be anybody and we wouldn't know?
True. It's just
Like,
they
who
should just get
cares?
a Gilbert Godfrey as the voice of.
You can't see me.
I could be over here, and I could be over there.
Just doing his bad impressions.
Affleck.
Why? Affleck.
So she was in Us.
Yes.
Okay.
Wasn't she from Mad Men? Is that where her big thing was?
I don't know. She's in that Handmaid's Tale too.
I haven't watched that. I remember
Never
the
seen it.
movie.
Is that what it's called, Handmaid's Tale, or is it something else?
No, you got it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about all the news I got. That's all the news is fit to print. So why don't we take a walk over to the what did we watch pile?
We have such sights to show you.
All right. Who wants to go first? Jason, go
Sure.
ahead.
I think I
There
hit the
we go.
wrong button there. Somebody might get a nice little sound cue. It was coming out of that bumper.
That's all right.
I shouldn't drink when I do this.
No one's listening. It doesn't matter.
All right, so I picked a movie that I thought might have some horror in it and actually didn't. It's a sci-fi movie, so I won't go too in depth on it, but it's free on Prime and I liked it, so I thought people might want to know about it. It's called Infinity Chamber. And it's about a guy who wakes up in a prison cell with a computer that opens the door to his bathroom and pours him water when he needs it and brings food when he needs it. And he doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't know what the charges against him were. He doesn't know anything. And the movie basically unfolds with him trying to figure out what's going on, where he is, and how to escape. It's a micro budget movie. The whole thing takes place in 2 rooms for the most part. I think there's a couple little other pieces, but that's it. Very cheaply done, but they did it right. They got a great actor to lead it. They kept any special effects they needed to do to an absolute minimum. It's like almost not exactly at all like The Silence, which I can't wait to talk about. And it's a good movie, and it's free on Prime. So if you like little low-budget science fiction movies that kind of exceed their budget, Infinity Chamber is for you.
That's the beauty of sci-fi. If you have a good story, you don't need the trappings around it.
Exactly. It's, this isn't any kind of epic great thing, but it was neat, and I liked it.
Cool.
That's right.
What do you got, Hunter?
Oh, I went on watched a little documentary, and this is, you'll know why I watched this. It's called Blood, Boobs, and Beast.
That could have been the name of this podcast.
It should have been.
Is that a Joe Bob Briggs thing? I mean, that's his whole shebang.
This is a trauma documentary about director Don Dohler.
Oh, God. John. Oh, I know him.
So, I mean, he's done some really, you might call them the worst movies of all time. You might just call him an enlightened man who was ahead of his time. Who knows? But he did a lot of sci-fi and not a lot, exploitation movies. And this is basically following him in the early aughts when he's working with Joe Ripple, the director at that point, because Don was sick of directing and also suffering from cancer. So we get to see the slow, inexorable demise of a man right before our very eyes.
Oh, God.
Nice.
The best part was, if you're a filmmaker, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, I think, Jack, I mentioned this to Terry M. West. We were talking to him about, this is a movie you're probably really going to love, because anyone who does a movie on a micro budget, and we're talking micro budget, and does more than one and just goes through the struggle for decades will really feel this guy's pain. It's interspersed with interviews of fans and people who kind of know him. And there's one woman who goes, "Oh, I know Don, and he may have cancer now, but he would never want to give up making films." And they cut to him like 5 minutes later. He goes, "I wouldn't do this shit. I got better things to do with my limited time."
Wow.
But it's an interest. It's like an hour and 10 minutes, so it's a quick watch.
What was that on?
I think it was on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I believe it was.
I actually thought it was kind of interesting. It's trauma, so it also looks like it was filmed on thrice used videotape and then thrown in a well and picked up in the bucket and put in your video store. But I just liked watching the process of what this guy had to go through to get his crappy movies made, and the headache it is.
If
So-
you ever want to understand Don Dohler, just go watch Night Beast and you'll get it.
Exactly.
It's just wow.
Yeah, they're showing how they were filming outside his house, and like there was a scene in a tub in a movie from like 25 years ago. The tub is still in the yard. He would use his kids in the movies and kill his kids.
You can't tell in the final product.
It's impossible.
It's high quality work.
Yeah. So it's a fun movie though, I thought. And it's quick. Can't be quick.
I like that.
That's what she said.
So not too long ago, I watched Blackula and Scream Blackula Scream, the sequel. And so this time I decided to, those are pretty good vampire movies standalone with the added kind of hokiness of being blaxploitation movies, but underneath it all, there's a lot to enjoy about those movies. So it's like, you know what? I've never seen Blackenstein from 1973. So I
Oh,
popped that on and watched it. And wow, this is a bad movie, my friends.
Really?
bad mother effing movie.
I've
man.
always heard of it, but I'd never seen it.
Yeah, no, this is possible for so bad it's good.
Ooh.
It's it's not
You having
it's
trouble
funny
getting the words
though.
out?
It's funny. It's funny. It's definitely worth checking out, but it's like the level of quality between Blackula and Blackenstein is like night and day.
Is it supposed to be
so-
funny?
No,
Oh, okay.
It's-
All right.
at least I don't think so, because it's not. There's not really jokes or anything in it. There's
What
some
is-
good kills though. There are some good kills.
It
There's
has a
some
whopping
really-
3.2
really-
out of 10 on IMDb.
What?
3.2 out of 10 on IMDb.
Nice. There's some really overacting, and there's some really wooden acting in this. The guy who actually is Blackenstein is just like this non-emotive guy. Then he just basically puts on the stuff, and it's just
Oh boy.
it's worth checking out if you just want to see a little piece of horror history that nobody ever talks about. But
I'm surprised they never took on the creature from the Black Lagoon. They wouldn't even need to change it. Just switch up the actors.
I almost tried to say a mishmash of the name, but then as I was going through it in my head, I think it would have come out very bad. So
Stop right there.
we'll just let that go.
yeah, so I'm glad I saw it. As far as I've always, I guess that horror noir documentary talks about it. Well, I still have to watch that. So I'm just happy to have checked it off the list of watching.
The poster on Amazon, they definitely had to do a little airbrushing to get some nipple out of there. That's quite a cover.
Mm.
I might have to check that out now. You have piqued my interest.
You should check it out.
All
I'm
right.
sure my father showed me this movie when I was young, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, I really got a kick out of it. I was just like, wow. Because honestly, if you watch Blackula, you're like, hey, I go in expecting this real cornball thing, but underneath it, it's kind of a good little vampire movie. Not so much with Blackenstein.
Oh well.
All right, who's next? Jason, go for it.
Well, I just want to throw out that the last drive-in is still going on. Week 4 happened last week. We got week 5 this week, and last week they did Madman, which I had never seen.
Really?
Yeah, pretty shitty slasher.
What'd you think of that hot tub scene?
Oh god.
It's unreal.
You know what kept grabbing my attention was the freaking music. It's
Oh
like,
my-
just ugh.
I remember when I watched it, I felt like I passed out. I felt like somebody slipped me something, and I had passed out, and it was a dream.
It's if
so
you've never
bad.
seen it, it's worth watching with Joe Bob, of course.
Yeah.
And then they did Wolf Guy.
Wolf Guy.
It's a Japanese
that?
movie. It's one of those I'd always seen the cover places, but I'd never watched, and I still haven't watched it. I only watched the Joe Bob bumpers because I haven't had time. But the show is really hitting its stride. So if you haven't seen it, maybe since the first episode or since the big long marathons they were doing, they're really starting to get it down. They're getting the male girl segments down. They have a phone that they just call Felissa Rose on anytime they need to ask somebody about a dick in a movie.
Dicks.
It's a great
expert.
segment. Yeah, mangled dick expert Felissa Rose. They're really hitting their stride, and it's hilarious. And if you're not watching it, you need to get caught up because it's just the best. So The Last Drive-In on Shudder.
Excellent. All right, Hunter.
Well, my other thing I watch is also a documentary. This is a 5-part documentary. It was about 5 hours.
Jesus.
I know. I was listening to Jim Harold's paranormal podcast, and he had on, I think, Greg Newkirk on. And he was talking about this thing he put out called Hellier. And it's about the search for these goblins in the Kentucky hills with all these empty mines and stuff.
Wait, you
Did
watched
they
a
find any? Spoiler alert.
Well, maybe Jason would remember the Hopkinsville alien invasion, or maybe you never
No.
heard of that.
No, I don't think so.
So this is like not far from where that happened, and they get this weird email from this guy called David Christie, who talks about how him and his family were just like victimized by these strange beings, potentially goblins, outside their home. And then these guys set off to, go out there, and they're going to get to the truth and find out what happened. Is this guy real? Where are the goblins real? And of course, once you start doing this stuff, you get sucked into the rabbit hole, and it becomes a parallel with the Mothman and
You get sucked into the goblin hole.
It's it's interesting. I will tell you what the parts that had me really tense is when they're talking to the locals, and these are locals who don't particularly care for outsiders. So
What? No way. I can't believe it.
I know. So, they get warned by the one guy and then they go down dark roads.
We don't take kindly to strangers.
It was building. Now, from what I've heard, this is the first of more to come. There might be a whole second season of this. It's free, by the way. You can go to hellier.tv and watch it. It's on Amazon. So there's no charge for this. I couldn't stop myself from watching once I started because I kept waiting for like some sort of like ghost, goblin, UFO, alien thing. I don't want to give it away, but it ends in a mine, an abandoned mine. So I don't know whether I can suggest you watch it. If it's not compelling enough to make you go sit down for 5 hours, but for some reason, things like this I can't resist, and I have to watch them.
You watched a 5-hour documentary about goblins in Kentucky.
Yes, and I won't watch 3 hours of the Avengers. Yes,
and you won't
that is
watch
correct.
Black Summer. You won't watch Black Summer. This is why I say this with love. You're a freaking idiot.
By the way, Astard, because you can say Astard, you can't say retard. I did watch all of Black Summer.
Oh, good.
Because I got sick and I had time to sit, not realizing, why did you tell me some of those episodes are 20 minutes long?
I did tell you that. You don't listen.
You're right. I don't. But Jason, that should be next week's show.
There's a little tiny film coming out next week.
Well, when you're done with the shit with the dudes in the leotards, then we should do that.
Maybe the week after would be a good one. I started watching it too, but I'm only 2 episodes in.
Yeah, that's a potential.
Yeah.
Hellier, come on down to the holler and watch Hellier.
Come on down. All right.
Insulted a whole swath of the country.
The other movie I watched, I went back into the Hammer Horror Vault from 1971.
You were going straight old man viewing lately. I love it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really enjoying going back. I'm either watching movies I saw as a kid or never saw as a kid but knew about from my horror books. This is one I don't think I ever saw before, but I would have been aware of this movie my whole life. And when I saw it was on, I think it's on Amazon Prime, I was like, yes, Hands of the Ripper.
I remember that one.
So this one is Jack the Ripper is being like chased by like a mob, darts into his house with a full top hat and cloak. Listen, From Hell, there are some direct shots from this movie that From Hell just duplicated with the London streets and stuff. Goes into his house where his wife and young daughter are, and his wife suddenly realizes that her husband is Jack the Ripper, and he stabs her right there by the fireplace while his little blonde daughter watches through like the crib or whatever. Fast forward to when she's an adult, and now she's like this traumatized woman who every so often sort of like gets possessed by the spirit of Jack the Ripper and does her own ripping. So it's a very kind of cheesy movie, but the kills are great Hammer red Technicolor kills.
Oh yeah.
And it's when I was a little kid, for me, I just thought horror movies always involve people with, top hats and, long coats and things like that. Because of the Hammer, I watched all the Hammer movies, and this is right there in, ye old London, like that. So it ain't the greatest movie in the world, but it's notable for being a Jack the Ripper movie and having some good kills and just some really silly things happen like they do in 70s horror movies. So I was happy I finally got to check this one off the list.
You should come to my house so we could watch my copy of Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
That's on my to-do list. So yes, I'll watch that at your house.
Awesome.
What was the name of this one again? Hands of the Ripper?
Hands of the Ripper from 1971.
I've never
Not the-
heard of this.
Not to be confused with Mano's Hands of Fate.
This is one thing I just love about freaking Amazon, though. All these movies that you keep watching are on there. It's great.
It's so great because like growing up, this is the kind of stuff I would look for in video stores, and or the library or whatever, and you'd come across some and not others, and then all of a sudden now it's like, oh my god, there it is. So I'm loving it.
Nice.
All right.
I actually have a video game for once.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Lucky.
that's right. I saw there was a deal, I don't know, last week or 2 weeks ago on a game called Zombie Army Trilogy. And with a name like that, I got to check it out.
Hell yeah.
So I grabbed it and god damn, it was really good. I played the hell out of it and just I did not get writing done because I was playing this stupid game.
Good for you.
It came out, I think the original came out in 2013 or something, and the third one came out in 15 or 16, but they remastered them and I got them all for like $7 or $8. And it's basically a Left 4 Dead zombie kind of game, but in World War II. And you're fighting Evil Dead kind of zombies that are Nazis. You fight Hitler, you fight the SS.
Like Overlord on crack.
Yeah, it's like Overlord mixed with World War Z style, 100 zombies coming at you at once.
Right.
And it's super intense. The sound is amazing. I played through it with a buddy, so we did some co-op playing it. It was freaking great. So if you're looking for something that you haven't played, that if you can get it for a couple bucks, it is the shit. I really, really liked it.
By the way, who has a better life than you? I mean, honestly.
Hugh Hefner before he died?
Yeah, just about. That's it.
And the
all right.
Kardashians.
Oh, totally the Kardashians. But they got to deal with cameras.
And the Kardashians.
They have to live with themselves.
Nice.
And Kanye West.
All right, Hood, you got anything else?
Yeah. Well, I hinted at this. I read Tim Meyer and Patrick
yeah.
Lacey's Lords of the Deep. Let me tell you, this book was freaking fun. If you
It's
like
Tim Meyer,
the fog,
though, makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie.
if you like the fog and the idea of old dead zombie pirates coming back,
Gar.
mixed with possibly some elder sea gods
Ooh.
and giant sea serpents, along with zombies, dude, this book had it all. Like, I thought, all right, this is going to be like, hey, let's get on a boat, get out there in the high seas, and we're going to encounter some serpents. No, this is like a modern day tale that deals with these ancient crazed mariners and goddesses and sea monsters. And when it gets bloody, it gets graphically bloody.
Is
which was
Aquaman
cool.
in it?
There is no Aquaman, which is why this is good. There's massive carnage, lots of carnage on land, lots of carnage in the sea. Talking
Wicked Carnage?
zombies that are like reclaiming their kids and rotting before their eyes. I thought this is kind of cool. Anytime you put kids in peril, I like. I'm always like, kill the kids, kill the dog, but
Don't kill the dog. I don't.
don't kill the dog. I don't want that dog out.
Kill all the people you want. But
We
don't
got a
kill the
discussion coming up about that.
We sure do.
I had to hear it all last night.
dog.
So yeah, I have something to say about that.
That's a good segue. So why don't we?
I'm not done.
Oh, you're not
wait.
done?
Quickly, just so you know, May 1st, the next Bad Ben movie is coming out. I just saw it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, number 5.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, 6. 5?
I think
I don't know.
5.
Whatever. I saw it's out that you can rent it, but if you wait a couple days, it's going to be on Prime. So
May 1st. That's all you got to wait.
what we'll be doing that week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really quickly, I just want to say I read another Richard Lehman book, still working my way through his catalog. Endless Night. This is about a 16-year-old girl who's spending the night at her friend's house, and some people break in and slaughter the family, try to kill her. She escapes, and then the rest of the book is her trying to stay away from the killers as they try to find her.
Mm-hmm.
As simple a story as you're going to find. I still like his style. It pulls me in, but this book was really messed up to the point where at times I'm like, what am I reading? This is just, there's so many rape scenes and torture scenes. And the problem is half the book is from the killer's perspective.
Yeah.
So you're just in this dude's mind And look, I wrote
And-
a short story inside a really disgusting guy's mind, but I could only do a short. I couldn't imagine doing a 500-page novel with half of it being.
Well, you couldn't sustain your horny lustiness long enough to get into that mind like Richard Lehman could.
I will say, even though this was not my favorite book of his by far, it's probably my least favorite, to be honest. But the rump continues. The rump train. This dude loves the word rump, and I'm starting to turn it into a drinking game because it's just amazing.
I have a rule. I
three in a
put the word
page.
rump at least once into every other book I write.
I've never used the word, but I'm going to start just as a tribute to this man.
Once you start reading other books of our generation and a little bit lower, you'll see rump everywhere. And it's all that word is like an homage to Lehman.
I did not know that, but I have noticed it, and I'm now watching for it in everything else I read. It's safe to say Richard Lehman was an ass man.
Thesaurus.com just keeps suggesting rump.
Seriously.
He was a rumpa.
You know what? I'm finding all these books because every couple weeks or months, probably every couple months, whoever has his catalog, I don't know if it's his family or whatever, they keep putting them up on sale. And I'm getting all of these for $1. And they are well worth it. Even the ones that I haven't liked as much as the others are well worth $1. The guy is a really good writer.
Oh, I bought them all in paperback when they were all coming out.
Yeah, so just pay attention. I don't know if you can maybe subscribe to him on Amazon or something if you're an ebook reader, but I mean, for $1, you more than get your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm done.
Excellent. Got anything else, Hunter?
No, I'm spent.
I am spent. All right, then let's go to the main feature.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
And we're back.
Can you do that every week?
I could.
Main feature.
Main feature.
We don't need a bumper. It's just that.
Well, here we go.
I could do the Mad Dog. Hello, everybody. I got today.
Hey, dog.
All right, so we've got the Netflix original, The Silence, with Stanley Tucci, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Kieran Shipka, is that how you say it?
Shipka, see.
And Miranda Otto, also from Sabrina.
Oh, that's right. And John Corbett from my favorite show that's ever been on television, Northern Exposure.
Ah, and My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah, my favorite movie ever.
So, is the tall one Greek, by the way?
No. I don't know what the hell. Some kind of mutt.
Aren't we all?
So anywho, this is a Netflix horror movie, so we naturally had to watch it and review it because that's how you get views on podcasts and hits on podcasts. So
and it justifies my stupidly increasing expenditure for Netflix every freaking month. I have to watch it for some reason.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, why don't you recap this movie for us?
Have you seen A Quiet Place? That's what this is.
Let me preface this. I've seen A Quiet Place, Bird Box, and The Birds. So, yes, I have seen this movie.
You've seen the movie. Some winged giant bat creatures come out of a cave, take over the world, and a family is on the run trying to survive these creatures that you can't make sound in front of. So, oddly enough, there's a deaf child in it, if you can believe it. I know, it's never been done before. And so this family is uniquely prepared to deal with being quiet. There you go.
True dat.
Yep.
All right. So since you recapped it, what did you think of it?
This was not good. Before we decided on it last week, I'd started it. I made it about 20 minutes and I stopped it. I was like, I am not wasting my little movie time on this. And then we started talking about what to watch. I'm like, well, I guess
we bullied you into it.
I guess I'll finish it. I don't know what the budget was for this, but it looks extremely cheap. And that was something that was pulling me out of it right away. Not just the special effects, which are really bad, but the look of the movie. Like, I don't know if the camera they had was cheap or the color correction was off or something, but it just looked like it was shot on video 15 years ago kind of look.
This is scary because the director is a cinematographer.
I don't know what happened. but it just looked cheap right away. But I will say there was some cool moments in it that we can talk about that I thought the story here is not bad, actually. There's some cool set pieces. There's some cool moments that just aren't done well.
Right.
And that's when I looked it up and I found out, oh, it's based on a book. That makes sense. They pulled cool stuff out of the book, but I was not a fan.
All right. How about you, Hunter?
Well, once I realized it was written by Tim Levin, I was like, oh, that's right. I knew this was coming out. I'd forgotten what the name was. So I really was excited to watch it. You can compare this to A Quiet Place from start till finish, but realize Tim wrote this book before A Quiet Place was ever written. So in my estimation, he should either sue Krasinski or beat the living crap out of him somewhere in Hollywood. I don't know which one he should do, or both. So Levin did it first. Remember that.
It is one of those weird things. When I looked it up, I did see that the book came out in 2015, so I didn't look up when the Quiet Place script was written, but
which means he wrote in 2013, probably got the idea in 2010. You know?
I don't know. I was interested when I saw that to see that if anyone was ripped off, it was probably him. Or, it could have just been the congruent thinking thing. You never know, but
right.
It's so close in so many ways that I would be not pleased.
I have to read the book now to figure out what was really in the book, and then what did some Hollywood pinhead decide, oh, well, this worked in A Quiet Place, so let's throw it in here because it's so similar.
Well, I think this movie was actually shot in 2017. I think it was shot at the same time as A Quiet Place. I think it just sat on the shelf.
Okay.
Where did they get that many blind pterodactyls from? Because that really impressed me.
Craigslist.
Oh.
Find everything on Craigslist.
They were breeding them very rapidly during the production of the movie.
I gotta say,
just like in the movie, there was like 50, and then there's 50 billion.
Yeah, the effects of the creatures left me wanting a little bit, but like the story is good. So I feel like any of the good underpinnings, they're drawing straight from Levin's work. This is a director who gave us Annabelle and Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh.
This resume is really impressing me so far.
Hold on. You think that's it? But wait, there's more. He also gave us Wish Upon
and
The Butterfly Effect Part 2. But he's also a cinematographer in a bunch of horror movies, and The Conjuring and Insidious. So
wait, he was the cinematographer on Insidious.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Insidious Chapter 2, at least.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Insidious Chapter 2 is not bad. I do agree with you. There are issues with the special effects and just the look of the movie. And there are some moments that I just looked over at my wife and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
There were a couple things I'm like, well, the solution's right here in front of you. So it's the plague of, it seems to be worse lately, of horror movies of just people doing things that are so damn stupid you can't believe they're doing them or not doing them.
Yeah, there's some parts where people are getting out of cars, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
lots of stuff like that.
Yeah, there's something we can do. We'll talk about later. I was like, well, this is how you take care of this, and it's the simplest solution ever. And instead, no, someone's going to lose a life because you couldn't think of the easiest thing. But anyway, it's a fine movie. It's a monster movie. I love monster movies. I watched Bigfoot's Big Weekend this weekend, so my bar is low, and it was better than Bigfoot's Big Weekend. So
okay,
well,
maybe not enough blood for my taste, but whatever.
I don't know what movie you guys were watching, because this was probably on my top 1 or 2 movies for the year so far. I think this movie was spectacular. I'm just kidding. This movie sucked.
You aren't fooling anybody.
Sucked is maybe too strong a word, but I was pretty bored because I didn't see anything new. Yes, they take stuff straight out of A Quiet Place, and then there's just a whole bunch of formulaic things they dump in this movie that check off the box of stuff that has to happen. Like monsters get out, what happens in the outbreak. Oh, weird humans that come in at the very end of the of the movie, all the
Well,
things you'd expect to see. We're checking boxes. I was almost a little bit pissed off because you had such name brand people like Miranda Otto and Kieran Shipka and Stanley
Tucci.
Tucci. Um, you go in expecting a little bit of a better movie, and I'm like, actually, if they had more B players in this, and it was more like a sci-fi movie, maybe I would have liked it better. If Ian Ziering was in this, maybe
you could have
maybe
taken it in a ridiculous direction, and it probably would have really worked.
yeah, if you had a little more fun with it. So for me, I just felt like, come on, Netflix, what are you doing? Like, Jason, what you were saying about questioning your subscription to it, it's like, come on, you're gonna put this out, get everybody excited, just like that the Cloverfield thing.
Mhm.
It's like you get all excited for it, then you watch it, and it's such a letdown, and you're like, how many times are they gonna pull this before people are like, Netflix horror movies just aren't worth it?
But you know what? Here's what I'm liking that Netflix is doing. They're taking books written by actual authors who know their craft and making movies out of them. We had Adam Neville's The Ritual last year, Bird Box by Mallerman, this by Tim Levin.
They didn't. I don't think they made this. Netflix just acquired it. This movie
Oh,
was
just acquired it?
Yeah, it was shot in
Okay.
2017, and it just aired because they picked up the rights.
Whatever. At least they're picking it up.
I'm totally fine with these movies appearing. It's just I don't know. I think maybe it annoys me more when they get this big push, and every time I open Netflix, it's right there. It's right there. They're trying to get me to watch it, and then I watch. I'm like, what the hell are you advertising this to me for? Like, stop.
Because they know, they see the shit you watch.
Apparently,
They say, this is better than that shit.
they got rid of the rating system now, and I can't tell what's crap and what's not, and it's driving me crazy.
That is so weird because I still have the rating system on mine.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had it for, I don't know, 2 years, whatever it's
Yeah.
been.
Ever since we started this show, you haven't had it. I keep waiting for mine to drop off. But
If I go into Netflix through my TV rather than my Amazon box, I get a different interface. So I have two different interfaces I can, and through my TV, I get the ratings, and through my Amazon box, I get the new interface.
Oh, lucky bastards.
yeah.
That drives me crazy. So I did want to talk a little bit about the book thing again, because I was watching and thinking, yeah, they're really throwing everything in here. Why is there a cult in here? Why is there this? Why is there that? Oh, it's from a book where he had 300, 400, whatever pages to work with.
Right.
You can flesh this stuff out. Whereas in this movie, it just stuff appears and then it's a problem.
Literally.
And it's just, and that really does not work for me. But I see the idea of the cult and I think, oh, that's kind of cool. I like what that could have been if maybe that was 3/4 of the movie instead of 20% or whatever it was. And even there were cool things with thunderstorms. So these creatures can only hear, they can't see. So in a thunderstorm, they struggle, with hearing where you are. Those are really great ideas, like really great ideas that are completely ineffective in the movie.
How about the best idea? This is going to be my top 5 scenes in the movie this year. Flipping on that wood chipper.
Yep.
So they're attracted
Awesome.
to noise and they fly like lemmings into this wood chipper that is just making a pile of goo.
Yep.
And I'm thinking I would turn that on once an hour for 5 minutes every day until I've culled the herd.
I literally said the same thing. I said, well, you fixed the problem. You just turn this on every day, kill everything in the area, and just enjoy your life.
When they have to go to the pharmacy and then we're transported to the mist, him and Tucci and his daughter, why doesn't grandma just turn the wood chipper on just to distract the things, kill a bunch so they can walk out that gate without shitting themselves?
I actually wondered, did it break when he used it or something? Because
I thought it failed on him.
Okay, maybe that's what it was then.
It better have, because that was the greatest answer to the problem.
You're done. I would just
The whole
spend all
world
my
could have
days
been
trying to
saved.
fix it. That's it. That's all you do. Fix that damn thing.
But did you agree that when they went to the pharmacy, that went all of the mist?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, there are freaking eggs in there. Are you kidding me? Like, God.
When he leaves, we go, oh, he didn't grab a comic book from the rack to bring back for the son.
There were comic books on the rack though.
Yes, I thought he was going to grab them. I thought this was like a little homage, but
And the Bird Box did a lot of stuff better than this movie too.
Oh
Not
yeah.
just a Quiet Place. Quiet Place did everything better than this movie, but Bird Box also did. And one of the things was the guy in Bird Box who gets into the house and does the drawings, and the fact that you don't know what the monsters look like in Bird Box really helped that movie. They made a good decision to not go with that baby head thing that they were going to do, because that gave you the whole time. You're like, what is it? What are they seeing? And
Yep.
you know, the guy's interpretation, all that. The fact that you saw the pterodactyl things right off the bat, there was like no kind of mystery to them, and then the human cult just was. It just felt like a Walking Dead subplot or something like that.
Was
they
that a
just kinda
cult or were
threw
they
in.
were like actual religion?
Isn't
No,
that
they
what
were
a
religious people. They were
cult is?
children of the corny like people.
Yeah. I like what they did with the little girl.
That was fun. We could talk about that. What you guys want to jump over to spoilers, because we're already starting to kind of.
Sure, whatever. Before we
Stop
do,
being so enthusiastic.
Before we do, I want to mention the way the effects are done in this is just all wrong. It's Sci-Fi Channel level work here, and I hate sitting and trashing movies like this, but I mean, right at the beginning, yeah, like you said, you see a close up of the creature, and the effect is terrible. What? Like,
There are sometimes it looks better than others.
why don't you shoot it all at night? You know, first of all, these creatures should be night creatures, right? I mean, they've been in a cave for who knows how long. They shouldn't be out, like bats almost. So you know, shoot it at night. Don't show close-ups of it. There was so many things, like when at the very beginning there's a car crash when they're driving through the woods. Why is the car CG? But then they go down the bank and there is an actual wrecked car upside down at the bottom of the hill.
I wondered that too. I'm like, why are we doing a CG car right here?
Yeah, what in God's name? Why would you do that? It looked horrible.
Yeah, that was a weird decision. I'm sure CG costs more than just chucking a car over the side of a
Well, yeah, and they already smashed a car. Just roll it down the bank and shoot it. I didn't understand some decisions like that. They were just weird to me. I'd love to know how they got there. Like what?
The explosion of that car was clearly CG.
Oh
yeah. Jack, did you think like the
forgot
little the Vesps look like one of the birds that would like play the records on the Flintstones?
Totally.
I love Liberace, but not like this.
The car explosion too.
Twitch.
The guy lit a rag and put it on a tire, and then 30 seconds later, the car is completely in flames. I'm like, what? Was he siphoning gas out of it? Did I not see a scene? Like, what the hell?
There might have been gas dripping we didn't see.
There was a lot of stuff like that I'm thinking, man, you know, just a little insert shot of some gasoline dripping on the ground. And
at first I thought he was lining his brother's pant leg.
So did I.
Well, not his brother's friends. I was like, this is hardcore right here.
Yeah, we should go into spoilers because I got a couple scenes.
Okay, then. Spoiler bell.
Oh, behold the spoiler time.
Okay, can I just quickly talk about the fact that Kiernan Shipka is supposed to be a girl who, I don't know how long ago, became deaf.
3 years.
3 years ago.
Yes.
She speaks perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Never has a problem communicating with anybody.
Knows when to speak clearly and when to whisper.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Is she had no sense of, if I put on earbuds, I'm like, hey, what are you doing over there? Like,
I do that without them.
Or like, remember what was that movie Hush, where the girl's deaf and so she's walking and she doesn't realize the noise she's making.
Yes,
they like never really did anything with that.
Nope, nothing.
So that was annoying. When I was like, you know, in A Quiet Place, they used a real deaf girl.
Yeah,
and she was spectacular.
This girl spoke so perfectly. I'm like, she speaks better than anyone with hearing.
Yeah, and then she had an iPad that never lost. Like, it lost Wi-Fi once.
Well, those Facebook servers are never going down.
Okay,
and
the fucking
and
iPad.
When her boyfriend answers it in the middle of like a fire or something like that.
Well, these kids are addicted to the Facebook. You know that.
But like, you could tell shit was going down around him. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting a call. Hang on a sec, guys."
Yeah, I need you to do some exposition. Hold on.
Yeah, when they were traveling at one point, the iPad, I thought this must be one of those cellular iPads. Nope, it was connected to Wi-Fi out, and there she's sitting in a car in the middle of the street. I'm like, wow, okay.
She's just ripping Wi-Fi from every house they pass by.
Never getting asked for a password.
Nope, she was good. So what I wanted to go back to was the dog sequence when they burned the car that I was just bitching about.
Oh, we got in a conversation about this at the old Helmstead.
Oh, what was your version of the
I said-
conversation?
Get that fucking animal out of there right now. I said, I probably would have thrown his ass out on the first bark. And my wife goes, why? I said, it's him or our children. The dog goes. And I
Yep.
said, and if the mother starts coughing, throw the mother-in-law out the window too. I told my wife, I said, if you were making too much noise, I would throw you out of the car
Well, we said
to
this
save
when
my
we watched,
children.
when we watched Quiet Place. We said between burping and farting, none of us would, and snoring, none of us would survive these kinds of things.
Yeah, all done.
So this is one of the rare times where I thought the killing of a dog actually worked. Not that they did it well in the movie, but the idea of it, that you have to let the dog go as a sacrifice so your children survive. Of course, it pissed my wife off. There's no coming back from it. But I thought, hey, interesting idea. And then they just continue to sit in the car and let the brother sacrifice and the dog sacrifice mean nothing. Like, they could have driven away while one of the two of them was being killed. And instead
Right.
they just sit there. And while they're sitting there, for some reason, they decided we can't break actual windows in the car. We're going to CG windows in the car and CG cracks on the windows.
Look, Hertz will charge you through the ass if you break those windows.
What in the hell? I don't understand anything that happened in that scene. You set the car on fire, but you don't take the goddamn guns first? What?
Wait.
You moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies.
Yes.
I want to ask. I wish the tall one was here. I want to ask her how she felt about the trainload of people sacrificing an infant and its mother because the infant cried.
Oh,
Did that
yeah.
register at all? No.
No.
Yeah.
She didn't give
So-
a shit about people.
Bunch of people on the subway. The
Yeah.
guy was going to literally throw the baby out. This is like a 2-month-old baby. He's going to throw it out in the tracks alone until the mother said, "Let me be with the baby."
Another great scene that I'm watching it thinking, boy, this wasn't really done the best, but it's a cool idea. And yeah, find out it's from a book.
Yeah.
That's why.
Mhm.
Solid stuff.
Now, maybe the most wince-inducing moment of the whole thing, though, had to be
Winsworthy.
the voiceover at the end.
Oh.
First of all, they're walking
rough.
in the forest with leaves, and I'm like, so nobody's gonna be quiet walking through that.
Oh, God.
They were going for it was like the end of the Hunger Games.
Yeah, then they're bow and arrowing him, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then she like does this voiceover setting up a potential sequel that was just so out of place in the whole thing.
Well, she did a voiceover in the beginning. So it was the voiceover sandwich. This is our story. You know.
Yeah.
She did a great job with the emotion in that voiceover, though. I mean, she didn't care at all. No, I don't know how many times I said whoever made this movie has never been in the woods or has never been here. That hunting scene, like, first of all, bows make noise. They're not, it's not a
They're not
gunshot,
completely
but they're
silent.
not silent. And yeah, they were
Boing.
walking down a bank on leaves. Good luck.
Yeah.
You hear a chipmunk walking through that stuff. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy's never been hunting. You can hear a deer walking from half a mile away. So I don't.
Did
so
you like
frustrating.
the TS Garp cult?
I thought it was.
Up.
Wow, there's a deep pull.
First thing I thought of when I saw that. And then I go, hey, just because you cut your tongue out doesn't mean you can't make noise.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't understand. They didn't cut
They
their
can't
voice
go-
box out.
I can't go to Swahili.
So they couldn't be the girl in Hereditary, but otherwise they could still make noise.
Yes.
Yeah. And they cut those tongues out fast because the world went to shit in about 6 hours. And this had
Yeah.
to maybe be 2 days after. And they've already cut tongues and they're feeling good enough to walk around.
Yeah, no problem.
I might be in bed a couple of days if you cut my tongue out.
Also, if a guy shows up at your door,
They were all from A Christmas Story.
But the bell rang.
to your father point about protecting your children, when in the apocalypse a man dressed in religious garb shows up having followed you, and says, "Join us." And when you say no, he says, "The girl is fertile," or whatever.
Shoot him.
Shoot him. He is coming back.
Now here's the problem. If he shoots him, the things are going to descend probably on him because he's holding the gun. When he goes inside, don't get the gun, get 4 pots and pans and just throw them at the guys, at the cult people, and the things will descend and eat them in seconds.
Yeah, exactly. You shoot the gun, and then when they're coming down, you throw the gun at him to make more noise. Like, that's...
My wife was like, just throw knives and forks at them. Anything that'll jangle.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's another thing.
Throw the bell at them.
That's another thing that I thought was a great idea, using the cell phones to make noise to attract the things. Okay, that's a cool idea. It doesn't really come across very great in the movie, but
I wish
neat
it was
idea.
my
phoner.
I wish it was my phone because my ringtone is the final countdown. That would have been awesome.
But I love the fact that they made the girl a suicide bomber, basically strapping this little girl up with cell phones and sending her to the place. I was like, God damn.
She must not have been fertile.
But they wouldn't make him Islamic. They just had to be random pseudo-Christians. Couldn't go all the way. Everyone's too chicken shit in Hollywood.
Did they ever even say they were Christian? There was a
We
church
assumed.
behind that guy, but he was
He
strange.
was dressed like a priest. That's the only.
But you could have stolen it. Who knows?
Well, yeah.
Crazy white people.
There's a cool story there that we never got any real backstory on. We didn't know anything about them or what was going on. Or
When
Another
he
reason
showed
to
up,
read the book.
when he showed up, and it's so early into this thing, and like there's already a cult that has cut out their tongues, like you said, and they're like this far down the crazy trail, and it's literally like been like 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Or call it 2 weeks. I don't think people would have gone like to cult extent that quickly. I think it'd be more like, you have a safe place. I want to get in there, and, like in a bird box where people are like, let me in your damn house.
Mhm.
It'd be more like that. As soon as I saw that guy, I was like, oh, the cliche religious cult guy. Come on.
Yeah. It was what it was. The best thing that this movie can make you do is make you want to read the book.
And I'm not going to lie, it did. It actually did, because I thought there are so many cool story ideas in this that are just completely squandered that I actually do want to read the book now.
It's a 11 book I don't have, and I bought it. While we were watching the movie, I said, I got to buy this. I have to read the source material now.
I'd love to ask someone like him if a movie coming out like this that's subpar, if it does anything to your book sales. Like if you have The Hunger Games come out, your book sales, like you're retired, you're done.
Well,
But if this comes out, does it do anything?
you can always ask Brian Keene about Ghoul.
I was just going to bring that up. If there's ever an adaptation of a novel that is nothing like the book, it's Ghoul.
A great novel.
A great novel.
Didn't
It is
that
a
come
great
out
novel.
on that horror channel or something, though, where nobody ever saw it?
Yeah, Chiller, maybe, or
Yeah.
something. Oh,
I mean,
That's
something
my
that people
favorite ebook.
watch, but is not good.
yeah.
That
was
I'd be curious.
rough.
Well, it sounds like would you tell somebody on a rainy night when there's nothing else to watch this, or
No.
I would. I would tell Reagan Butcher to watch it. I would tell Jim Herbert to watch it. I have people I know who would watch this and enjoy it for what it is, and not. We're picking it apart because we have to. If I was just sitting scratching my ass watching this, I'm like, all right, I spent worst.
I think it was the platform. If as a Netflix movie, I'm like, if this had been sci-fi or something like that, I would have been like, oh, okay. I think it was presented. I think maybe I'm putting my expectations are too high for Netflix movies, and now I can be like, okay, Netflix movies are like sci-fi movies with a tad better budget.
If this is a Hulu movie, I'd say it's the best horror movie on Hulu.
I'd said if this was on YouTube and the guy who directed it did all the effects and did everything himself, I would be impressed.
If he Nigel Bach'd it,
I was going to say the
Right.
Bad Ben versus the
Yeah.
Vesps would be the best.
Exactly. Yes, expectations didn't help, but I don't shut movies off very often, and I actually had shut this off and had to go back to it because I could tell right away, like everything's going to be done in a bad way. So
I was just getting bored.
yeah, it just didn't work for me. So
you know what? I'm sick and I had nothing to do this afternoon, and I didn't mind it.
I still haven't watched Sabrina season 2, so I think I'm gonna. Kiernan Shipka is pretty great in that. So
Her and Anya Taylor-Joy, they're becoming the horror queens right now.
yeah.
Can I just mention that we are going from, I don't know, is this the Avengers going to be the most expensive movie ever made? Infinity
Probably.
Endgame to Bad Ben 37 1 week later. Like this is going to be a great
We are
1-2 punch.
diverse podcasts.
Wouldn't it be great if Bad Ben gets the better rating?
I don't know.
Did you watch the last Bad Ben?
I still haven't watched it. Now I have to watch it this week, so I'm prepared for the next.
You didn't
one.
watch the Crescent Moon Clown?
No, and I think maybe that
Clown.
was the problem because he changed the name. This next one's like Bad Ben something.
Bad Benner.
Keep saying worse Ben.
So I'll tell you this much, Hunter. I don't know whether you're going to see Avengers or not, but
No.
the day the tickets went on sale, I was part of that mad rush where you're on Fandango and then you're on the AMC website trying to get in, and the internet is just crashing and all this, and I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm at work, so I have like a window up with my work and another window up with like Fandango, and then I'm like trying on the app, and I got all the way through to buy tickets on AMC, and then it died on me. So I had to go do a call, so I was away from my desk, came back, and I was like, I'm just going to go to lunch. I'll turn all this stuff off, and I'll try again in the afternoon or whatever. I'm sure I'll be able to get tickets. Just as I'm like closing all the windows, I get to the Fandango window, and it's like, you're next. I'm like, oh my God, I'm next. And I got
Good Lord.
my IMAX tickets
People have no patience. What if you just wait a week? Would
because
it
I wanted
matter?
to go opening night. I don't want this spoiled, baby.
You want the red carpet? People take your picture.
Yeah, I'm sitting next to Brie Larson and ScarJo.
Son of a bitch.
ScarJo. I actually won't be able to see it till Monday, so I'm basically going to have to stay off the internet.
I'm totally texting you with spoilers.
Okay, turning my phone off, asshole. Thank you.
Just watch a matinee.
We should also mention, have you guys watching Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah.
I didn't watch the latest episode because I
Okay.
fell asleep.
I'll stay quiet then.
Yeah. I'll watch it this week.
All right. Never mind then.
Next
So
week's
next
gonna
week
be
of-
nuts.
Next week is Avengers. Is it Endgame? Is that what we're
Endgame.
doing? All right. Followed by Badder Ben.
That's right.
Batter Ben and Black Summer.
And we will also announce the winners who win a bunch of free books for tweeting out our 100th episode. So we will have those winners announced next week.
That's correct. Hopefully.
Excellent. All right, so it's time to go to the silence. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please share, give us a review, and do all the stuff that helps the podcast become a bigger podcast. We'd appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
Appreciate everyone in the chat.